All right, so suppose you take out a loan, whether it's a student loan or a car loan. There's some principal loan amount, say it's a student loan and it's $35,000. And you have an interest rate on that, it's accruing interest, and say that's like 3.9% interest. And you're paying it off in N months. So say you want to pay it off in 10 years, that's 120 months, so N would be 120. And you want to calculate the monthly payment you would need to pay every month in order to pay off your $35,000. There's student loan calculators out there that will calculate this stuff for you, but unfortunately you can't really fiddle too much with, say, like the monthly payments. You can't see how much your monthly payment would be if you had wanted to pay it off in 5 years as opposed to 10. So here's a nice formula for that, given by this thing right here. So the point of this video is to figure out, where did that loan monthly payment formula, where does that thing come from? All right, and the way that we're going to do it is in a roundabout way. We're going to first find formulas for how much is left to pay after month 1, month 2, month 3, all the way out to month N. And then we're going to kind of manipulate that, solve for M, the monthly payment, to get that formula. So we are going to find out this information here. So on this government website on student loans, there is a formula for how the interest is calculated. So it's the principal balance times the number of days since last payment times the interest rate factor, and that's the interest. So the interest rate factor is you divide your loan interest rate by the number of days in the year. Okay, so let's do this for month 1. All right, month 1. Okay, essentially, you start off with P. That is the amount of money, like the $35,000 that you took out in the first place. And then what you want to do is add the interest, and then you subtract off your monthly payment, and that's how much you have left to pay after month 1. Okay, and so let's calculate this. So this P, okay, the interest, remember, this is how the interest is calculated. So it's going to be the outstanding principal balance, so that's P, times the number of days since last payment. So we're paying every month, and so that is going to be times the number of days in a month. And then it's times the interest rate factor. And it says down here that it's determined by dividing your loan's interest rate, so times R, dividing that by the number of days in the year. Okay, so then that's divided by number of days in a year. Okay, and so that's going to give you the interest rate, and then, the interest, the amount that of interest that is accrued, and then you subtract off, of course, M from up here. Okay, so all of this is your I. All right, so let's try to simplify this a little bit. Now, what we can do is, since this is all multiplied together, we can do this times this times this, all divided by this number of days in a year, right? And that doesn't change the math at all. And so what we're going to do is then regroup this, so it's not R divided by number of days in a year, but we're going to focus here on the number of days in a month divided by the number of days in a year. So there are different days in a month, so there could be 30 days in a month or 31 days in a month, 28 days, and we don't want to keep calculating different things each time. So number of days in a month divided by number of days in a year, if you think about it, that can reduce down to 1 month over months in a year, right? So instead of days over days, we can do months over months and do 1 month over 12 months in a year. So we can simplify all of that and write down P plus, and then over here, P times, instead of days in a month over days in a year, 1 month over 12 months. Okay? And then times R minus M. Alright, so let's go ahead and not write months anymore. And let's also multiply the R in here, and we can write P plus, and then P times R over 12 minus M. Okay, and at this stage, notice that there's a P here and here. So you can think of this as P times 1, and we can factor the P out and write P times 1 plus R over 12 minus M. Okay, and that's about as simple as we can get with the formula for month 1. And so this is the amount that is left to pay after month 1. And what we're going to do is call that P prime. Okay, and that's going to help us out when we're going to figure out month 2. All right, so month 2. Month 2. All right, so remember the formula for month 1 was, I'll do this business if I can. It was that. I'm going to put it down here. That was the formula for month 1. Now you have this P prime. And remember also how the interest is calculated, the outstanding principal balance. Okay, so you have this much left to pay, and you want that to accrue interest, and then you want to subtract off a monthly payment. So we're going to use this P prime instead and substitute it in for this P. Okay, so this was the original amount, but once you've accrued interest and subtracted the monthly payment, you have something that's smaller. So that's the amount that's now accruing interest. So that's P prime times 1 plus R over 12 minus M is it's going to be the amount left to pay after month 2. Okay, now we could just leave it like that, but we actually want to plug in what the P prime actually equals so that we leave everything in terms of this P. It just makes life a little bit easier in the formula. So then this is going to equal, this P is going to come down as P times 1 plus R over 12 minus M. So that's your P prime down here. And then you have to multiply that by this part, 1 plus R over 12, and you're still doing minus M. Okay, so again, we're just taking this and substituting in what it equals over here. All right, so now what we're going to do is simplify this a little bit. We are going to multiply this inside. So this is going to be P times, now this is 1 plus R over 12 times 1 plus R over 12. So that's going to be 1 plus R over 12 squared. So 1 plus R over 2 squared, and then minus M times 1 plus R over 12 minus M. Oh, Patrick left me a little bit of whiteout here, so we can go ahead and try to, not very good whiteout, huh? Ugh, okay, that's not working very well. So we're just going to leave that like that, and hopefully you can see that that's 2. All right, so that's going to be our formula for month 2. All right, let's do month 3. We're going to call this P double prime to indicate that that's the amount left to pay after month 2. Now, for month 3, we're going to take that amount that's left after month 2 and do the same thing. It's going to accrue some interest, and you're going to subtract off your monthly payment. And so then we just take all of this and substitute that in right here. So that becomes P times 1 plus r over 12 squared minus m times 1 plus r over 12 minus m. That times the 1 plus r over 12. And then you're still subtracting off m. Okay, so again, we just took this and substituted that in right here. Okay, so like before, we are going to multiply this 1 plus r over 12 in here. So squared times this other one to the first power is going to give you 1 plus r over 12 to the third power minus m times 1 plus r over 12. Now here becomes to the second power minus m times 1 plus r over 12, and then minus that m out there. Okay, so that's month 3, and we're starting to see a pattern. So let's use blue here. Here's month 2, and notice it goes 2 and then the first power and then technically the 0th power out here. This is month 3, and if you look at this, it starts with a 3 here, and then it goes down to 2 into the first power and then down to the 0th power. So we're starting to see a pattern. So I think we can go ahead and write down a formula for the nth month. So for month n, since this is 3 and that's a 3 right there, we can write P times 1 plus r over 12 to the n, and then minus, and it's 1 less than what this power is that we write down right there. So this is minus m times 1 plus r over 12 to the n minus 1. And then the next one is the next power down, and you keep going till you get to all the way down to minus m at the very end right there. So it's minus m, 1 plus r over 12 to the n minus 1, minus m times 1 plus r over 12 to the n minus 2, all the way down till you get down to minus n down here. Okay, so that's the formula for month n. And because this is kind of a long video, I'm going to stop here and continue on with part 2 on the next video. All right.